Hey, how vulgar can we get?
Whoa. I told you, I'm sweating balls right now. Somebody give me a napkin, please. Welcome to Kinjaz Convos! Brought to you by Kinjabang Noodles, 100% plant-based, air-dried, never fried, no preservatives, feed the revolution.
Hey. And today we're going to be talking about Jackson Wang.
What in the heaven?
What's up, dudes?
I'm good. What's up, man?
Oh, hey guys.
Hey, what's this guy?
What's up,
I just happened to wear Team Wang today.
Hey. Is it on my back? What does mine say?
Yep, you gotta turn all the way this way.
What does mine say?
Yeah, there you go.
Can you see this one? Can you like punch in?
Wow.
So Jackson Wang, obviously, I think everybody knows that we've been working with him for a very long time, but maybe not everybody knows like how we got to know him or the full story and stuff like that. So even for ourselves, let's just recap. How did that whole thing go down? Because all I remember is I think the first thing that we did with him was technically Hot Blood Dance Crew, right? And ironically, when we showed up to work with him for Hot Blood Dance Crew, we had just choreographed to one of GOT7's tracks. And then when we showed up, he had just learned the choreography. So he's like, hey, oh. And he gets up, just knowing the way that Jackson, he gets up, he starts doing the choreography, and we're like, whoa, we choreographed that right before we jumped on the flight. And after that, he starts admitting a bunch of funny things.
On Hot Blood Dance Crew, I think it was funny, because one of the routines that he actually learned from like me or Bam or John way back in the day when he was like auditioning to be GOT7, he actually performed Break Your Neck. And we taught it to him.
That's right, that's when he learned
the TV show. That's like 10 years old now, but he like wanted to do it.
Legends never die.
Honestly, he's like really good at dancing though, so he smashed it.
So on this TV show, he was teamed up, and his team was him and Luhan, and fortunately we got to be the Kinjaz got to be the choreographic representation for that team. He killed it. Fortunately, they got to win that show. Congratulations one more time to Team Wang and to Luhan. And then from there, that relationship blossomed really fast, and we got a chance to work on his next music video, which was Titanic. That's right. That was super hilarious. We were freezing in pool water because the car is like dipped in pool water. I don't know how that made sense, but
it's art.
Yeah, it's art. That was cool.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, and then we end up getting the chance to work on one of his most recent music videos, which is 100 Ways. So let's chat about that one, because a lot of us got a chance to work on it. G, the man over here who flew into China very, very last second in order to film it, work with Cloud and Kaleidoscope as well. Let's talk about that whole experience real quick, because that's crazy. Yo, it is really warm in this super, super quality Team Wang jacket and this light right here, so
Hey dude, got you, don't worry.
Whoa, thanks man.
Yeah, I got you, where's it?
Thanks Charlie, can you hang that up?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Team Wang. So, 100 Ways. This video, if you guys haven't seen this music video, we'll explain the concept real quick, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a very Asian type of music video, which is very mystical, kind of fantasy based. And it was funny because we were actually choreographing for another show for us. We prepared it for stage. But because obviously working with the genius Cloud, we did a lot of the choreography for camera. So I think that in the room with Cloud, we came up with so many different options. I think we had like 15 iterations of it. It ended up with like really precise hand stuff that we did that we wouldn't normally do for stage, but on camera it looks super exciting.
Nice.
There it is.
Which is always nice.
You know, in order to understand how to develop and how to execute this thing, there's like a wider almost mythology to like what happens in the story. What ends up happening in the music video is kind of just like this fragmented representation of that story, right? But I remember them telling us about like,
that's nice, Anthony. Let's hear from someone else.
I'm like this warrior. I fell in love with this girl. Apparently, the prince also fell in love with this girl. So then he had me killed, and then I've been waiting for like 1,000 years, and then finally I get to meet her. It's basically like the Chinese Romeo and Juliet, I would describe.
damn,
And they can spend the afterlife together by being buried together.
Wow.
Yeah, we thought it was a brilliant treatment and story, and we were so excited to see how it went down. Nice. So let's talk about the experience, like what it was, because all I remember were things like freezing.
Yep. It
What
was
were
like
the conditions?
20, maybe 30 degrees. It was freezing.
Yeah, and this is like on some epic like Chinese production level type
Yeah.
stuff, right? So you don't really have the same, union standards and codes, you know what I'm saying, or working conditions. I keep it
No
real.
such thing as
And it's grand. Everything in China is like huge, right? They built a whole fucking forest. I really feel like people went out and just dug up trees from like outside the parking lot or something like that.
That's exactly what they did. I think before all of us came, Cloud was showing me photos. Outside the soundstage, there was like 30 trees, maybe more, all of different thicknesses, and obviously there's the glory tree, the main tree of the back.
The main tree with like the
Yeah,
orange leaves, yeah.
Yeah,
That was real? No, that was fake.
no, that one was fake. But
Okay.
But everything else is like a real tree, right?
Yeah, mhm.
Because like you won't even see it. Like you have to really stare at the music video to see the falling tree in the back.
Yeah.
Because you had a giant like 30-foot tree that was like being held up by ropes and a bunch of Chinese dudes like on the rafters. And there was only one shot, and this is the one where Jackson's like going down, and we're all kind of like running through the woods, if you will, jumping on rocks and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. And then from there, literally you have one take because when they let go, the tree's gotta fall, and once the tree falls, it's so big it can't be brought back up. Like that's it. That was the only shot, so we had to get it perfect.
yeah, only we get that in one take.
Pressure was on
Yeah.
G on that one. I feel like we were easy, right? We just had to like hit a rock. But I was like, this guy had to get like every angle perfect. That was crazy.
I feel like the situation is always like that when we're working with G. It's like we just gotta get our job done because G's gotta get this right. To see G in action, but to see all of you guys also hit your cues, it was just honestly kind of beautiful. I was just sitting back like, yo, this is like super Kinjaz like teamwork right now. And I think because we have such a movement experienced cast, not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera with G and Cloud, things like that are able to happen because everyone has a deeper understanding of movement, so we get to push the envelope in that way. So kudos to you guys.
Gerald, DP King.
That
Sounds like a fast food place. DP King.
That sounds like a porn star name. Yeah. I got a question for you guys. What is, being like choreographers on it, what is your guys' favorite choreography moment in the entire video? And why?
I mean, I'm biased, man. The amount of Kinjabangs.
We should have like a count tally of how many
Yeah.
times it goes throughout the video.
And then the fact that turned into like a fucking TikTok challenge too, right? Where like people were just like, boom, and like everywhere around, everybody's doing this 100 shit. But let's be real here. You know what I'm saying? Like that was crazy.
Yeah, I think my favorite part, yes, is the number of bangs. But I think it's also, I think specifically the part where Jackson summons Joni to come out of the grave, or his love. And we kind of just like tilt back as trees and just get out of frame.
Oh yeah.
I think that's my favorite because we were dying on set because they had these like pads,
Crash pads?
crash pads, yeah, that you can't see. We're really just looking at each other like, here we go, just hoping for the best. But
What was the most difficult shot?
Oh man, it's funny. It's actually the least dynamic shots are the hardest to get, like the slow push-ins, because it's easy for me to go faster around and kind of track around. But when you're carrying like a 40, 50-pound rig, it's super hard. You have to control your breathing. You have to walk a certain way, and we were walking on sand too. So my feet are digging into the floor. So I'm like. I have to really like stiffen up too and control my breathing in order for it to not translate into the camera movement. Those shots were actually the hardest, which is kind of like the opposite of what you would think.
As amazing as it was such like a humbling experience to be able to really reflect on the journey that we've had with Jackson and recognize that we weren't just like professionally working with him and choreographing for him, but it was like really a whole village effort to like stay connected and build a relationship, because like this dude is like a friend, you know what I mean? Like Jackson is somebody that like we respect. He works so hard, but he also really respects us and keeps that relationship with us. And he really prides himself on pushing himself so hard to master what it is that we give him when he takes that kind of like, or gives us that responsibility. So Jackson Wang,
Wang Jar.
Wang Jar, yeah. And this episode of Kinjaz KONVOS was brought to you by Kinjabang Noodles. 100% plant-based, air-dried, never fried, no preservatives. Feed the revolution.
Heyo. I'm hungry.
You know what's funny?
That should always come right after.